Hello, Chatter International Village School students. My name is Sean, and I am a grade 10 student at CI. Today, I will be leading a very fun activity on the layers of the Earth. So I would first like to begin by saying that this video is best for grade 5 students to watch, but it is not only limited to them because this video will be educational for all grade levels. But the reason why I said that this video might be best for grade 5 students is because the grade 5 students, once they move up to grade 6, will learn about earth science, and one of the topics that they will explore is the layers of the earth. So, shall we get started with our activity? The materials that you will need for today's lesson are 5 different colors of Play-Doh, a piece of paper, a pair of scissors, a pen, and dental floss. So I have my 5 different colors of Play-Doh at hand. Let's first label which color will be used for which layer of the earth. And before we do that, let's quickly talk about the different layers of the earth. So the most inner layer of the earth is the inner core. The inner core is the first layer, and then the second layer is the outer core. And then the third layer is the lower mantle, and the fourth layer is the upper mantle, and the fifth layer is the crust. So now I will be labeling my different colors of Play-Doh with a layer of the earth. So, should we decide which color we'll use to represent which layer of the earth? I think I might want to use red as the color to represent the inner core. And then I'll say that I want to use orange as my outer core, then yellow as my lower mantle, purple as my upper mantle, and blue as my crust. So we'll first start with the red Play-Doh, and we'll start to create a really big ball. And make sure that you use less Play-Doh for the inner layers and more Play-Doh increasingly as we move on to the more outer layers of the earth. So I'm first going to start with just this much of red Play-Doh, and then I'm going to create a ball like that. And then I'm going to take some of my orange Play-Doh. I'm going to use a bit more than I did for the red Play-Doh so that I have enough to cover the red Play-Doh. Okay. And for the red Play-Doh, we represented the inner core, right? So then we created a ball, but then for the rest of the layers, you first can create a ball still. So that step can still be the same, but we have to flatten it out. We're gonna go like this. And make sure that the shape of the red Play-Doh inside doesn't get too funky. Okay, so we have our 2 layers. Now let's move on to our 3rd layer. One pro tip I might give you, just one piece of advice, is that if you sort of press on the Play-Doh on your table, and if your table, maybe it's really moist, or like so that, or it's in a condition where the dough might really stick to the table, make sure that it doesn't do that. And if you're sort of worried about that, maybe just press it once and do what I'm doing. Just pinch the Play-Doh with your fingers and make it flatter and wider with your fingers only. This might be a safer bet. And for the final layer, it might be okay if your final layer doesn't cover up the inner layer because we're going to cut it in half anyway. So speaking of cutting it in half, shall we do that? I am going to move my Play-Doh to the side, like that. And now our dental wax is going to save the day. So cut out about this much. I don't know how long this is precisely, but about that much. And let's just push the dental floss in, and we'll see what kind of results we get. So I cut my original ball into 2 halves, and I got this result. Although this isn't, like, the layers are not completely equal, that is fine because the layers of the earth are also not very equal, as we will see later on in this video. But anyways, what I did right now is I cut my ball, my original ball, like this, that was like this, into half. And I am able to see the inner sides of my mini Earth. So now I'll be using one of the halves to explain our results here. So the red layer here that we have, that is our inner core. And the reason I chose to use red to represent the inner core is because the inner core has the most heat. It has, the heat in the inner core is extremely intense. So that's why I represented it using the color red here. And I don't know if you can really see, but there's another layer of orange. And the layer of orange is representing the outer core. So the outer core is the layer right outside the inner core. And then we have this yellow layer. It's very thin. I don't know if you can see this again, but that represents the lower mantle. And then the purple layer here. The purple layer is only evident on some sides of my ball, but then that is supposed to represent the upper mantle. And my final layer, my final blue layer here, is the crust. So through this activity, we were able to see the different layers of the Earth. I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to try it at home. Thanks, guys!